We got a quorum. We're gonna open up the meeting. First thing is to add or changes, any changes to the agenda, which they've got a training, but the ambulance personnel, there's some people wanted to talk to us, and we should try to get them on at towards the end of our meeting. If they're all here, it'd be a good time. So I'm looking to add them on.
Also move.
One second.
So Pierre made a motion, Phil seconded a motion to add that to the agenda around 8:30ish. Any more discussion? Having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Alright, so that's added to the agenda. So the first one we have on the agenda is discussing some personnel issues which needs to be done under executive.
I'll move to go into executive.
I'll second.
Motion by Phil and second by Pierre to go in executive session. Any more discussion? Have none, all those in favor go in executive session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Base, approximately 6:09, we're going executive session. So we just came out of executive session. And we've got a action that happened in executive.
I'll motion to give planning commission authority to write a letter of support for the Opera House planning grant.
I'll second it.
So Polly made the motion and Pierce seconded that motion. Any more discussion? If having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous ayes. And that's been approved.
And for the minutes to show that that is the correct protocol, that in order to get a letter of support, it does have to go through the select board or trustees first.
Alright, so next on the agenda, we have Andrew Dunsmore. Has he been here?
So I move to go back into executive session.
Well, he's not on yet, I don't think.
Yeah, there he is.
Oh, he's on Zoom.
Hey, Andrew. So we have Andrew on now, and we're going to need to go in executive session to discuss personnel matters.
I'll move to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters.
I'll second it.
Dean made the motion, Phil seconded the motion to go in executive session. Any more discussion? If having none, all those in favor of going to executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. So basically 6:46, we're in executive session.
What I'll be looking for tonight is for the board to take formal action on the bid. So I'll quickly go through the 4 options that we talked about 2 weeks ago. And then if Larry wants to relay our conversation and recommendation with V-Trans, and then as a board you can discuss and decide where you want to go and where you want to direct me. So just to remind you of the 4 options, option 1 is to accept the bids. That would mean that the municipality, Enosburgh, would pay $180,000 and change to match the current grants that you have, plus you would need $318,525 additional to cover the overages for the apparent low bidder. So just about $500,000. So that's option one. Option two is to reject all the bids and have the town engineer redesign the project, looking at downsize the building, look at materials, ask some questions about concrete that keep lingering, and then rebid the project in late 2022, early 2023. Option three is to reject all the bids and the town discontinues the project, and you pay back the federal funds that have been used thus far on design and project management, and that's about $55,000. And then option four, which we're calling the Fairfield Model, which we got a little bit more information about on Friday, at our Friday meeting, but the town rejects all the bids and town continues the project using only municipal funds for construction. And one clarity that we got with V-Trans on Friday was if you did that model, you would be picking up the design that the feds paid for and designing the project. So it's not just,
You can't build what you wanna build, you have to build
Or pay back the money,
or pay back the money.
So if you're gonna use our money, you gotta go by our spec.
yeah, just because the federal highway's looking at it, that they've invested in the project.
Right.
They wanna see something come from it. And so if you abandon that, if you either don't build it or if you go completely and do something completely different, they would want a reimbursement of their funds.
Being the 55,000.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep, 55,000 at this point.
So, I did find something in the statutes that did state if there were reasons beyond our control that we could send a letter to the state to not have to pay that back. Is that an option?
So, yeah, that's, if the town went that way, there has been, I've never seen it, but I've heard of cases where, the feds still get their money, but that the state has covered the federal portion. But, it would be, so if the town, if you wanted to abandon the project and you said, we're either paying back the funds, I would definitely think that you should explore that. But I would not recommend going with that option if you thought the other options had any merit, because it will take some work.
Okay, so I think at this point, we should discuss a little bit more in depth with option two, with some of the findings that I saw the email there with the concrete, is that something that can be bid out separately?
Yeah, so one thing that I raised with V-Trans, kind of on this model of if the town decided to reject all bids and enter into a contract amendment with Du Bois & King to redesign, I think that Du Bois & King should be looking at materials. There's some roofing questions on whether there could be cost savings there. I think they have to look at reducing the footprint of the shed potentially, if it can still meet Joey's and the crew's needs in the future. And then the third option, which V-Trans has not done in this program, but it appears that it's allowed by Federal Highway, which is to, and actually recommended by Federal Highway, is to release, divide the project up and release multiple bids. So release the concrete as one job and then release the superstructure as another job. And therefore you would hopefully increase competition by having more people who could just bid on the concrete if that is their forte. But also it could give you some real value, because what we see in the bids is like reasonable concrete, unreasonable superstructure, and
If you could pick the better of the two or the lower of the two, which would work as great as one package, it would come us back to our budget that we're talking about. But also another point with the D&K, we talked about was if we were gonna proceed with that option, is we need to have them come sit down with us, because basically we feel like we're getting paying a lot of overages, unnecessary overages for their updates on plans and not getting a lot back, and it would be not with the engineers themselves, it would be probably with the department head. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but,
I think I'm leaning towards option 2. For sure.
and so, I mean, Pierre did some homework, and I didn't dig into my part because the legality of possibly with the concrete company, but some of the language that these bidders have to put out is the type of concrete. It may not be what I use in my bunker, it may be some special stuff put in it, we don't know the parameters of that, and is that necessary or not, but that's why some of these bidders may come up with a high bid, because that,
They're adding in that.
the concrete companies evidently don't feel it's necessary, but they have to recommend this is the stuff that we're using. So, but I like the idea of Bethany sent back that it's possible to be able to re-engineer this a little bit and be able to bid out it separately. I think it would, our match would be down significantly.
And if we did that, would we be able to, or would the guys be able to do some of the groundwork themselves?
That option 2 probably would not, because you're bidding it out.
You're bidding it out.
Or
but-
actually, with a concrete company, you may, I don't know how they would do that, but it's federal grants, so.
In the past, historically with this, in the Municipal Assistance Bureau, that's always been the feds allow it, but it's always been a no. There seems to be a little bit of more leeway a little more flexibility in the last year or so, so I think it's worth asking if the crew wants to take on, I would say the prep work.
Yeah.
Digging
the trench for the footers, you know?
Yeah, and what would happen is, if the town committed to that, then when you released a bid, that item would not be part of the bid package.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you can get a contractor on board and then negotiate, I'm gonna do this piece, you're gonna do that piece. It has to be kind of decided ahead of time. And thinking about what the town can do, with the timing and what capacity the town has. So you might not get to a yes, but I think we put it back on the table.
And if we were to do that, would that be taken out of the grant process, or would that be part of our match?
What you would do, you would be requesting to use in-force labor as your in-kind match.
And I know the concrete companies around, I think they'd be more than willing to do something like that, because it's the way they operate, they just wanna come in and do the concrete work. Something else. Oh, so if it was able to be concrete, then the rest of the building would also probably include the landscaping,
I mean, I would assume you would wanna do it, so
because
it's
that wouldn't be part of
everything,
concrete, it would.
Yeah. it would be everything that's afterwards. You wouldn't wanna have to then come get a different contractor, the first contractor to come back and do
Right.
anything. It does introduce there you have more logistics, because you have to worry about timing and lining up 2 contractors as opposed to 1. So I think there could be some costs and some complexity there. But I think that it's worth exploring.
So that's what's in front of us.
So do you want them to make a decision tonight?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
if you're making a decision, it would be making the motion to reject all the bids, and then if you could have a separate motion for how you would like me to proceed with DuBois and King. We can kind of keep those 2 things separate.
On the second item, how much does that lock us in with Du Bois and King?
Well, I did ask that question on Friday of whether the town could, go and get quotes from other engineers and have them proceed with the design. Our V-Trans project manager felt that it would just be too costly. to start.
Cause they
all
basically
over
did all
again.
the groundwork
Yeah.
below, and now you're gonna ask somebody else, and they're not gonna trust, or they probably won't allow them to utilize the work that they did, so they're gonna have to do it all again.
Right.
Dig some holes, do some tests, and
I would say that, you know, it sounds like the town is moving towards a redesign, which means a new contract with Du Bois and King. I'll remind you that the last time when we talked about redesign, they came up with a quote for $7,500 just to give you the memo, to do an evaluation of what could be redesigned. And then they were gonna come back with the price of what the redesign would cost. What I would recommend is, instead of that intermediary price, the town just request, we want a proposal on redesign.
Right, instead of, okay, yeah.
And then I also would think, if you could, you know, not, and we can see what the proposal looks like, but I think it's gonna take a meeting with them to pick through that and negotiate what amendment's gonna look like.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to go with option 2, which is to reject all bids. And
she needs two different motions separately.
separately.
I just thought it'd be cleaner just to,
Yeah, okay, so first motion to
Sorry.
reject all bids.
keeping us here later.
Do I have a second?
Like to bundle
Second
my
it.
option?
Polly made the motion, Dean seconded the motion to reject all bids concerning the salt shed. Any more discussion? Having none, all those in favor rejecting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. So officially, we rejected all the bids. Now we'll go to part 2.
Which is a motion to have Du Bois and King submit a new proposal for redesign on the project.
Polly made that motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Phil seconded that motion. Any more discussion? If having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. So we will now go forth to Du Bois and King. And Bethany will get the wheels going on that.
Yeah, so my first step is, I'm back in the office on Wednesday, and I'll notify, well, tonight I'll email the apparent low bidder. I've been in communication with them, letting them know that this was an option on the table, so this is not a surprise, they've
Okay.
been patient. So I'll notify them, and then when I'm on Wednesday, notify the other bidders that know that they weren't the apparent lowest, and then reach out to Du Bois and King.
So your feeling is the whole process, rebid and stuff, won't come back till August, September-ish, quickest, or?
I would say that's the quickest, you know, and when we sat here in September kind of debating this issue, you know, I don't think you even lost that much time, because if Du Bois and King would have started redesigning, we would have lost the rebidding period anyway. So why it's kind of frustrating, as I told Joey, it's Groundhog's Day. But, you know, I don't think we would have lost this season anyway if you would have decided to redesign in the fall.
So just a thought, just saying, the process went smoothly and we got to the point where we had a concrete company and somebody do the rest of the work. It may not even work for Joy, but it still may be early enough in the fall that the concrete walls and floors could be done and you could technically utilize that area.
I thought, is that feasible?
Yeah. I mean,
It's still, you know, it's just solid. I was just thinking, you know, just to, you know, I think it's definitely a doable thing for the concrete companies, but when you come to do the structure, yeah, you gotta order all your materials and who knows how quick that's gonna come, and then it's gonna be winter time, but I know it's just a thought. I mean, is it a doable process where it's not all done in one season, but it could be done two? And it may work a little better with our budget too.
I think it would be a lot better for the budget, because you would know exactly, like to the dollar, what the structure's gonna cost.
Yeah,
And you could be building that in the budget.
yes.
and if you have to raise money, do it then. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think the plan to go with now.
Stay tuned.
Okay,
Thank you, Bethany.
thanks for all your work, Bethany.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bethany.
Good meeting.
Yeah.
And, that, right there, that bridge letter needs to be,
Acceptance letter, yeah.
yeah, just to accept the new bridge.
Oh, on,
East Fairfield Road.
right, okay. I'm like,
Yeah, no.
did you see me? I was, I was
That one.
blanking. I'm like, you know, that place.
L.
So we formally need to
What the heck was this?
accept the finalization of this bridge project. This is bridge project 1448,
Amount of calls in there, I don't know.
and it's got 45 in parentheses, I'm not sure what that means.
That's just a grant number
He's gonna walk here.
that shows up on the contract.
Work on above noted project was found to have been performed within requirements specified by the resident engineer. Project is substantially complete. Municipality has had the opportunity for input during the final inspection and finds the project to be acceptable. So we just need to move to accept it, officially accept it.
I'll move.
I'll second.
So Dean made a motion,
Definitely aren't taking it back out.
and Peter seconded the motion
I think
to
we should.
accept the finalization of the project. Any more discussion? If having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
It's a little easier to get to your feet on
Officially
the side now.
signing it in.
You'll have a 12-mile run to get
You
around.
can take it if you want.
An hour round trip.
Yeah, no
You don't
kidding.
need to send it anywhere?
No, he'll send it.
I can.
Oh.
He likes to have that stuff. in
You'll
his-
send it.
I just want to have a copy of it.
Yeah.
Oops.
Put it in the
Yay,
next folder.
there we go, yeah, just imagine that.
We don't, it's just you, right? Signature?
Yeah,
Oh, no?
just
Yeah.
one, yeah. Okay, is that it, Joy?
I think so.
Alright,
That's all I had.
excellent. Get us a little closer.
Yeah.
Thank you. See you.
Alright,
Bye.
Joy.
So the next two things, the Armory, Abatement, and the grants board, all that should be quick. So Jesse and I met with Greta on a Zoom meeting. I forget what day it was.
Tuesday.
Thank you. Tuesday. And we talked about that the estimate for abatement for the asbestos is 17,500. And is that something that we would want to pay for ourselves or to grant fund? So then we came up with timeline. I said, well, it's gonna depend. How far down the road does it put us if we grant fund it? And she said that she could get everything going in 4 weeks. And Jesse said,
We have time.
yeah.
We have, I mean, and then the short of it, we have plenty of time with everything that's going on right now, with having to have, you know, a plan from an architect and all this stuff. You know, he's a month out, I'm guessing, anyway. So my initial thought, and I had shared, was, you know, we've got a 26-foot scissor lift there right now, and if I could help with the abatement quick, my first was like, well, yeah, we could pay, but it isn't. We're still a ways away with everything.
Right,
So
because at first I was thinking like, oh, is this gonna be months? We should just maybe pay for it. But if she said she can turn around in 4 weeks,
yeah,
she did say that we could go out and start getting bids ourselves. Basically, what you have to do is you have to prove at least estimates from different people. They can do that, or we can do that. So if we could get, she said we could start finding that now, estimates on the removal costs. Now I can't remember, maybe you can help me, is if those names where we get estimates from had to be off a certain list.
She said that guy, John, could take care
Oh,
of
yeah,
that.
John.
She said John could take care of who, that's gonna be, where they dispose of it and what they do with it and how we handle it, so.
And do you have his contact, sir?
No, I believe she was gonna go right through Greta, the way I
Okay.
took it from.
Okay.
So we just have to basically tell her, the way I took it, we just have to say that we're gonna go the grant route and then that John guy was gonna get the ball rolling,
Yep, okay.
so.
So,
Which we had to do a 3-bid procurement with that grant too.
right. So clearly I, will not be part of the board to see this through, but I am happy to continue the conversations just and work with Jesse, to keep that ball rolling till you get in there.
That'd be great.
Yeah, just because of all the back conversations I've already had. Instead of trying to catch somebody up to speed.
Yeah,
Oh, that'd be perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm finding that out on a job firsthand with my mechanic out this week.
You're like, what?
Yeah, I'm the.
So the
Who are
next
you?
question is the grants portal management. And so I am the authorizing official on all the grants through their portal. So every time a grant is submitted, I'm the one that hits the final submit and the final closure. So somebody on the select board needs to take that role. Or, because they said, well, does it have to be on somebody like the select board? They said they can appoint somebody like a town manager, so I don't know what that means. If it could be somebody like Jesse, if it could be somebody like Billy Joe, or does it have to be somebody?
Let me introduce you to Polly Rico. Are you the town manager?
I think you have to have a title.
I just
don't
gave you
have
one, town manager.
Exactly, yeah, town manager. But that being said, so the situation that we ran up against with the Opera House, right? It looks like they're kind of like sharing passwords. Whoever's gonna, like, they're kind of, this person might be working on it, or this person might be working on it, and this person might be working on it. And in order for them to work on it consistently, we were talking with Greta, and Greta said you probably should put in some parameters, like have one person designated to be the person. And so I was talking with Heidi, because Heidi was the person who was tagged with doing this grant. She feels a little awkward because she is the Highgate town manager, zoning administrator, town manager, town administrator.
I think so.
So she's constantly putting in grants for them. She thought it would like muddy the waters, that they wouldn't quite sure who was submitting the grant for who. So she didn't feel comfortable it being her, and I said, well, I don't really care who it is, but at your next Friends of the Opera House meeting, you need to have a conversation about who is going to be your person who is going to have access to this portal to do any grant writing in the portal.
And they would be the only ones that would have the password or whatever.
Access, right.
Besides admin.
And then that person would come to the select board and say, hey, we want to do a grant. Will you open a grant for me? And we would say yes or no. And then once the grant is opened, then that person would be the one who would go in and put in information. Now that's not saying that you can't all work on it. Like if we were a board and we wanted to work on a Word doc or something and we were all contributing, but whoever's going to get into that portal to put information in that portal should be one person.
I'm okay if you guys want it to be Jesse. I already do take care of the FEMA portal.
So you're,
I already know how to do that one. I don't.
yeah, but you're comfortable doing that kind of
I'm
work.
comfortable
Right.
with the FEMA one, so if you want it to be Jesse, that's fine. For this one, then we will.
Whatever you
They're
guys
two different
want me to
people,
do, I'm
right.
happy to.
Yeah.
And like I said, if it needs to be between Billy Joe and I or whatever,
Right.
or however.
I mean,
any
you
word-
are a you're the financial person. So invoices, that's her. So you would be, so basically the only protocol is that if you're gonna open a grant, that it has approval from the select board, and approval from the select board before you hit the final, so that's it. Yeah,
And we can
let
utilize
me
them.
double check, but I don't see why not, as long as
Yeah.
there's the process, right? Yep. But I will double check, and that's all I had for those two things.
Cause I know my skills on that are,
I always forget my password.
I'm
Every
grandfatherly
time.
nail.
Yeah, because you use it only like once a year, you know? All right, that brings
All
us,
right.
look, we're on schedule now.
Nice.
Awesome. And this gentleman on here must be the four-wheeler group.
Mr. Doyle.
Mr. Doyle?
Mr. John.
Hello, how you doing?
Good.
Good, yourself? I think it's going.
Good. So I'm Tim Joyle, president of local ATV club. I'm just checking in to make sure that there's no problems with the way it's been going. And make sure we can still keep moving forward.
Problems, you mean like if we've had any complaints? What do you mean by problems?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that might hinder us being there, being able to have access to what we have.
I haven't
I don't
heard
have a
of
problem with it.
anything, yeah.
They go by my house and they're very respectful, usually doing the speed limit.
Oh,
And
good.
most of the ones that aren't doing the speed limit are the local kids.
Local
But
kids
then
in
the
backpacks.
club riders, the groups always come by my house and right on the main road.
Yeah.
They're very respectful. I don't have a problem with it at all.
Access to the wheelchair.
There's very
I
few
know,
that screw
we
it
don't
up
have
for
any
the others.
overnight.
Yeah,
Although-
no, I think they're all
Cause I
pretty
think
good.
I've seen some on here.
Only the snowmobile.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds great. So
Yeah, perfect.
if I could just send you guys have signed it before, a couple years ago I was there. We need a landowner permission form. If I send it in, you folks could sign it and send it back, I assume. That way Basta has it and their insurance covers, anything that might happen.
And
And then,
And that was so that you can ride on town-owned land? What is that for?
Roads, just a
Town
road.
dirt roads,
no,
okay,
just so
gotcha,
we can, so we can use what we already have access to.
gotcha.
And then so that we don't have a problem like we've had recently in another neighboring town of yours, if there's any need for help with fixing the class 4 roads or anything like that, if you guys could just notify us, we would work with you. We do have the means to help out. I mean, I realize that some places in the corners and stuff where the ATVs go around, it broms up a little bit. Maybe ruts or anything like that. If anything at all comes up, if you could just get a hold of us so that we could fix the problem before it becomes a problem, so that it doesn't get shut down, we would much appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll pass that on to our road foreman there.
Right.
Also, it might be good too, we went through a pretty, not a big overhaul, but a significant overhaul of turning some class 4 roads into either trails or discontinued totally, so it might be good to get an updated map, cause that just happened a little bit ago.
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't think we have any in Enosburgh. The only ones we have are Montgomery. But I do want to throw out there that Sheldon has opened up their roads.
Oh, good.
So there may be a bigger influx this season from that direction, just so that you guys are aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where it'll go in your area, but just so that everyone knows,
Yeah, thank you.
just for the information.
Mhm.
But that's all I have. If everybody's fine with it, then I'll send that in and we'll be looking to get it back. And like I said, our information on there, contact information is on there. So you keep a copy, and if anything at all comes up, just let us know.
Great,
All right, Tim.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
You
Thank
too.
you, thank you.
We're even farther ahead now.
Wow, need some ground.
Did she say they were ready?
She asked how many more minutes, I just need to get these.
Cause that's
lines
gonna
of
take a
credit.
long time, and I don't know if we should try to, or can we finish this?
Well, I think the planning commission stuff is already done.
Oh, that was,
That was what we talked
That
about
was
earlier.
beginning.
okay, good.
Yeah, that's,
We're
yeah.
getting in there.
Oh, we need
Okay.
to talk about the date of the March
So,
we're
meetings,
really
and then I
knocking it
have
off now.
Tax anticipation.
Okay, so
Which is
the
wrong.
date of the March meetings is the next bullet point, and I will be gone the second week, which is actually the first Monday of the month. Didn't realize that beforehand, thinking second week is second week, but, so either we still retain now and do the first and third, or we move it to the second and third possibly.
Take the one off, you just had town meeting.
Well, that's the thing, we're meeting next Monday, so since
Yeah.
December, there's only been one
Right.
week that we
Yeah.
haven't,
Last
Yeah.
week, yeah.
Take it off.
so, yeah,
I'll just do the 21st.
Oh, we love you, Polly. I can't believe you're leaving us.
well,
When I was on the
Check
planning
this out.
commission,
We
I
should-
took maternity leave. We didn't meet all
we
six.
should do reorganization sooner than later though.
Right, so,
So if you,
so you're gonna be gone the
So-
7th,
I'll be gone, yeah,
the 7th,
so if it was the
so the 14th.
14th,
When does the first Monday in April fall?
4th.
April 4th.
The 14th and the 4th, the heck with the other one, huh?
So what are we doing the 14th?
You start the slate all clean, we're,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a new select board member,
Mhm.
then you have to, just
Right.
go right down through and
Right.
elect whoever wants to
Right. Do whatever.
put their neck out. Why did I say that out?
What was the other
Thank
date?
God, somebody did interrupt with the
14th.
when I got in work.
Are we doing the
I said,
21st too?
"We're going home tonight."
Exactly.
Leave it
So-
tentative,
The big dog.
or how does
And
that
all
work?
this for the child.
Yeah,
Oh,
see, I don't know how much we're
And
gonna
she
have
just
on
sees
our
ball and it's like here
plate.
on my lip, and she went up.
You foresee a lot of stuff coming on in March, cause we do just that
Depends how tonight goes.
14th, or
I don't have anything
They might-
pressing.
I guess we can have that meeting. And then at that time, choose to either do the next one or not.
A little tighter, but once they're.
If we do it on the 7th when Larry's not here, we can volunteer him for more things.
Well,
That's right.
that's why I was like, I don't mind if you guys still wanna go ahead.
You wanna say that one?
Or, yeah, cause if Larry's not here, you can, make him,
'Cause-
chair of everything.
That's how we, who's not here in town for all these special positions there? Like fence viewer.
Exactly.
We never
Speaking of
did,
fence
we
viewer,
haven't,
where'd
we
he
haven't
disappear
viewed a
to?
fence since I've been
I
on.
think he's out there.
Well,
He's
it's
out
dangerous.
He's out with Joey right now.
Oh, is that where he went?
Where did he go?
He was talking to Joey out there.
Oh, probably about the trusses.
Got you.
So I have tax anticipation note and a line of credit for the Armory, that's one. And then tax anticipation note, I don't know. It's an odd formula that they used. It's a form you have to fill out before I just say how much money I want. They give me how much money I want. Now you have
That's all
to
you
fill
have
out
to
a
do?
form and it says, this is how much you need. I'm like, I know I need more than that, but this will start us for years.
So signatures.
It's $667,201.
For tax anticipation.
I mean, it can't be any more odd.
Do you need a
$1.
signature here too?
Yeah. I'm like, well, that's an odd amount. Last year it was like $1.5 million or something, and this year is
Wow.
whatever.
Is it, this all one?
Two separate notes, tax anticipation note and then a line of credit.
Line of credit is there.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one.
Line of credit. And Larry, I took your pen. And then,
Yeah, there's multiple.
She's getting done quickly, I didn't even get her pen done.
I know.
Didn't even bring her own pen.
which is actually par for the course. I'm always like, Billy Joe, do you have a pen? And I brought my glasses this time. I meant business.
This is,
That's the line of credit for
Yeah.
the Armory.
what do they go for interest?
Oh, yeah, that is on there, it's at 1.1.
Because I know they're
Have
talking
some?
about interest rates
It's pretty
going
low.
up.
I'll take some.
Is it locked in or is it
I don't really need it even at that price. At that rate.
Well, it's locked in right now until we do, at the end of the year, when you have to turn it into how many years you're gonna take to pay it back. That's when it might change.
Oh,
But right now, like if we didn't need very much of it, maybe we could pay it back this year. And,
Oh,
then we
right.
would have the low rate, which depends on how much of it we're
Yeah.
going to use.
Yeah, because that's something that, oh, there's two,
There's a couple places.
this is the same thing.
Same thing, yes. It is.
Alright,
Did you go plan for your staycation?
we got dentist appointments and some orthodontist appointments,
That's
and
fun.
we put in a new toilet today.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Now, what's exciting is if you put in a new bidet.
We don't have the water pressure.
You want the water pressure?
You're gonna miss us.
I know, I know.
Larry, you wanna sign that too?
I got the third one I missed.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll just wheel in for cookies.
Yeah.
How, your Valentine, I don't know how you made all those cupcakes.
Oh my god, yeah.
For Valentine's Day? Your
Yeah.
car was like, you showed the picture of all the boxes.
So from Thursday night to Monday night, we did 96 dozens.
It's insanity.
Dozens, yeah.
Out of our
Our home oven, oh yeah.
That's
You need Tracy set up with
crazy.
four ovens that she's got now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know, 2 double ovens.
I know, I'm so jealous when I saw
Yeah.
it.
Who has that?
Tracy, he went just over
Yeah.
her house.
It has two
Two
double.
double ovens in the wall. I was like,
She's a baking machine though,
Yeah.
she's always baking.
I have one single oven.
She has a commercial kitchen in their sugar house on the road too.
I want a double
I
oven.
want one of those
There's
Russian
3
stoves.
spots.
6
Oh,
burner
yeah,
gas.
yeah,
and-
yeah,
Thousands of them. Actually,
Oh,
I've had my
induction
stove
oven? Yeah,
almost
those are
18
pretty cool.
years.
Wow.
The damn thing won't die.
You keep wanting
They're
to
just
do.
stop saying that, we don't need to buy one. I'm like, I hate this stove.
Is it electric or gas?
It's electric.
Oh,
Just,
yeah.
I mean, it just
We
won't die.
switched over to
I
gas.
have not even replaced the baking unit.
Oh,
I
really?
bake a lot. And it's
Sign
a
on that
ceramic
spot,
top
then
and
Peter
yeah,
will
none
sign.
of the burners have ever done.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it
I'm
hasn't
like, I
cracked
don't
or
know what
anything?
they need.
I think
this
you need
for.
to drop like a Dutch oven on the top.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, you just showered.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, yeah.
They got them all made.
It's the only thing left in my kitchen that's from the house, originally. And it's
How long have you been there?
almost 19 years.
18?
18.
18 years.
I've been at my house 22.
22.
Actually, it might even be 23. Wait, you don't need that.
No.
Going the wrong way.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's been a good stove, it serves its purpose, but I would really like a double oven.
I want a double oven.
Minerals must be salt or something.
Yeah, it's solid.
You got 3 more minutes, 4 more minutes.
For you guys in here. Trying to get through this and then he could probably actually leave.
Oh, yeah.
Do you wanna make a?
Oh, executive?
Right, so then, and just tell them.
Yeah, we can make a motion for executive. For personnel.
Yeah. Yeah, so the last thing on our agenda is
Executive and then,
executive, so Polly made a motion to go in executive,
A second.
and Dean seconded that motion. Any more discussion? Having none, all those in favor of going to executive session signify by saying aye.
Alright.
All those opposed say nay. So basically 12
I think so.
executive session.